Greetings, family. This is Dr. Greg McNeil. Today is September the 30th, 2025. It's a Tuesday. It's a lovely fall day here in Tucson, Arizona. I want to talk to you a little bit. If you are receiving this message from outside the United States, take a close look at what you see. A close look. And for those of you who are receiving this message, watching this video within the United States, what city are you in? Are you in Chicago, Portland, Memphis, Los Angeles? We literally have just scores of people walking around in, military uniforms, ICE agents, mask, no ID, not giving any ID, just breaking into your home, snatching people outside of their homes, racial profiling people on the street within the law. Yeah. So the Supreme Court said, that brown people can now be racially profiled in the United States of America. What they look like, what do they sound like, do they have their papers on them? Think about this. This is something that has happened within like less than a year. It's incredible. It is pure science fiction, and it is terror on purpose. You need to pay attention to what's happening now, right? You need to make sure that you're involved at whatever level that you can be so that you can see what is happening around you, whether you're within this country or outside of this country. Because as we all know, policies that take place here within the United States amplify and impact countries throughout the world. The spirit of democracy right now is emerging in this country. It is an ideal, but it's one that requires truth. And it is probably why it is under such intense threat right now, because the word democracy has not really historically meant everyone. It meant one group, and then everybody else fit in where you can get in according to a structure that was established for you. This is all illusion, materially controlled. We understand that. But it does impact the thinking, and it impacts the behavior. But now, when you watch what's happening around the country, you can see that for many people, what they thought was an ideal situation, a dream come true, has turned out to be worse than a nightmare. And it's going to continue. It's going to continue to amplify until it is stopped. And the only way that this type of thing that we see happening in the country, within the United States, the only way this energy stops is that everybody is connected. You're involved at some level, right? And what would that look like? So many people say, well, I'm not into politics, I'm not into so much that's happening, and that's understandable. But we're not really talking about politics. We're talking about humanity. And to really get to humanity, we have to be connected through our history, because without history, you have a story, you have a mythology, you have an illusion, you have propaganda. These things, when supported by powerful financial structures and societal controls, they make it quite easy for people to exchange truth for lies and expect to be happy. It's sort of like if you're paid well enough, you can forget what you are actually witnessing. This may work for a time, but the body's nervous system doesn't work that way. And hence, you have a country like the United States that is riddled with anxiety, right? Because people can't rest, you can't relax. But you can't relax when the life that one builds is built on something that's not real. You see, when everybody is chasing money, then what are we doing? We get further and further away from the thing that really connects us. And let's be clear, no one is talking about or dismissing the need for money. We're just saying that there are ways that people have been exchanging and meeting their needs throughout history that didn't involve currency, at least not the way we see it today. This is a different game that's being played. And this is one that produces poverty intentionally. But you'd have to really get into history to know that. So, for instance, consider this. There is no indigenous group anywhere on the planet that were ever struck with poverty prior to colonization. Exactly. They didn't experience poverty because they lived in harmony with their environment and their lives, so they knew how to meet their needs, particularly here within the United States. With the American Indian tribes and so on and so forth, all of this stuff that you see, this is manufactured. But if you don't know history, you'll think it's real. Understand what I'm saying? You have to search. So again, I'm asking you to take a close look at the shadow of America right now. Look at what's happening. Look at everything that's going on. And there are things that I'm not mentioning, of course, because they're all over the news. But if you get off of the four-letter networks, news networks, you're going to find so much that's happening that you want to pay attention to, especially for the younger people, because your lives are being critically shaped right now, financially, in terms of things like freedom of speech, all of these things. Pay close attention to what's happening. And so this brings me to the question, what is your spiritual mission? Why are you here? What is your goal in life beyond money? What do you want to do besides be rich? What joy will you bring? In what way will you contribute to healing on the planet? Will you be an agent of positive change? Or will you continue what we're seeing today, which is no longer the status quo, but it's getting worse? You see, some tend to think they're just born into this world. They grow up, they're raised, they either go to college, they get a job, or vice versa, however that works out for them. Maybe they get married, have children, take a vacation here or there, and then save for a future, and then that's it. Now, on the surface, how people choose to live their lives is completely and totally up to them. But I'm talking about the conveyor belt mentality. That thing where you see everything looks the same, like in a neighborhood where every home looks exactly like the other. They all compete to see who has the best decorations in the front yard, especially around holidays. They live that life, a material one, empty in so many ways. And for those people that are chasing that life, then that's unfortunate, because they actually find out that there's got to be something else. And when they're asking for something else, it brings us back to the question, why are you here? Do you think that you're just on the planet without a mission? Think about that. Each and every one of you that's listening to what I have to say, you have something that only you can do. I have my own mission. I'm in the healing spaces. I'm in the history spaces. Why is that? Because those two things help to keep us together. They help us to know what's going on so that we can move as a unit, so that we can do things as one and succeed. When you look at communities throughout history, that is how they succeed. They have a collective vision. They're not all over the place. They're not fighting over things that don't exist. They're not arguing over religion in a country that probably has more than 250,000 various denominations, all claiming to know the word of God. It can't be found there. So what is your mission? What are you going to bring to the world that we live in? How are you going to contribute to the future? How are you going to improve your relationship with your family, with yourself? You see, because that is also the start. You don't have to go outside. You don't have to protest anywhere. You don't have to tell anyone, but you can change your mind. You can change the way you are thinking about things. You can witness what you see and then ask yourself, is this really true? Is this really accurate? And then search. That you can do. And once you do that, you'll notice that everything else around you will begin to reflect those changes that you've thought about, those changes that you created for yourself. Again, pay attention to what's happening. We live in an interconnected world. There is nobody that's living outside of what we all are experiencing right now. Again, you got troops running around, just literally grabbing people on the street, chasing them down, beating them down, taking them away without due process. And where the hell are they going? And this is the United States of America, right? Now, if this is happening someplace else, people would be all up in arms, but it's happening right here. Science fiction made real. What is your mission? What is the part that you will play in improving the situation that we're all living in? Now we see quite clearly the shadow of the country. You see, once whiteness was created through British law, the pathology would begin. And for all of those European brothers and sisters that follow me, understand what I'm saying. You see, there really is no such thing as whiteness. That's a creation. I've said that time and time again. I've told you it's in the research, and it is certainly all over the internet space and chat GPT, and all of those other kind of places. It's going viral because it's true. It's evidence that's been hidden, and it was used as a tool to condition people, a tool of oppression, a tool of separation and a tool of division. This is what we're seeing now. We are seeing the result of that. And they have now charged people in such a way, they have threatened their very lives through this false identity. And they've made people feel as though that who they are, that something is wrong with them. And this is a result of conditioning. Conditioning and miseducation. Think about that. No, there is no such thing as whiteness, but people talk about being white. And they do so because they've been conditioned for hundreds of years. And now we're in a time where we can see the results of that pathology, of that deviant behavior and that cruelty against their own people. Think about that. Someone else's cruelty, insecurity, would cause them to create a philosophy and way of life that would change the world, and certainly not for the better. And when you look at what's happening in this country right now, you can see what that philosophy looks like. Pay attention to what's happening. Get connected, because we are all sharing this experience, but differently. And if there is such a thing as we the people, it will have to be we the people. Thank you. Let's talk again soon.